Hi, I'm Christopher with Milestone Systems. In this video, I would like to show you some of the main functions in the Smart Client and how you use its features in your XProtect Go surveillance installation. You launch the XProtect Smart Client from the Windows Start menu or by double-clicking the shortcut on your desktop. To access the Smart Client, you first need to log on to the XProtect Go system. By default, the server address is localhost because the software is running on this PC. If you have a network, you can install additional Smart Clients on other PCs so you can access the XProtect Go server from them instead. If you do this, you'll need to enter the IP address of the XProtect Go server. You're using basic authentication, which simply means the user is only registered in XProtect Go. And the default username is admin, and so is the password. These are the default settings that are created during the installation. If you've defined other users in your system, you can also use these to log on to XProtect Go. Before you get to the actual Smart Client application, you'll see a small information screen that contains valuable information about registering XProtect Go, the benefits you get by upgrading to one of our premium products, and how to access the XProtect Go support community on Milestone's website. To continue to the Smart Client application, simply click OK. If you want to see any of this information again while running the Smart Client, just click the About icon in the menu. So this is the XProtect Smart Client. If you take a closer look in the upper left-hand corner of the application, you'll see three tabs. These three tabs represent the three modes the Smart Client can operate in. Live is where you can view live video from your connected cameras. Playback is where you can browse through the recorded video material and export video material. And the setup mode, which you use to define new views in the Smart Client. Let's start by taking a closer look at what you can do in live mode. During the installation, XProtect Go creates a default view that you can see here. You can add your own views in the setup mode, but we'll get back to that later. The side panel to the left of the camera views contain all the controls you need to efficiently run your live monitoring. The first control pane contains the views that have been defined and are available to you. The views control both the layout and the actual cameras being shown. If you're running a larger surveillance system, the Smart Client lets you integrate event handling and control external systems such as doors, gates, lighting, and other surveillance devices such as speakers. There's a dedicated control pane that makes it easy to control pan, tilt, zoom, or PTZ cameras. The icons beneath the side panel let you control which panes are open, and if you want more space for the video, you can easily hide the control panel. You can also maximize an individual element in a view. This lets you track relevant events in detail. A digital zoom capability lets you enlarge part of an image so you can examine the selected portion. This is useful for cameras that don't have built-in optical zoom capabilities. You can control digital zoom either by using the PTZ pane or by marking the area in the video that you would like to enlarge. A small overview frame in the bottom right-hand corner of the camera positions help you navigate around in the image. You can also use the scroll wheel to zoom in or out of the image. Another useful feature in the Smart Client is the independent playback of specific cameras. This lets you investigate incidents fast without losing track of what's happening in real time. To use it, simply click the independent playback icon that appears for the specific cameras when mousing over the camera view. Cameras in independent playback mode are clearly marked with a yellow frame. Once a camera is in independent playback mode, separate playback controls appear that make it easier to examine the recording. You can put as many cameras as you want in independent playback mode and easily toggle between independent playback and live mode by simply clicking the icon in the lower right-hand corner. Playback and investigation of recorded video is done under the Playback tab. The Playback tab looks very similar to the Live tab, but there are some distinct differences. The most obvious is the recording timeline that appears to the right. This timeline gives you an overview of the recordings that are available for the cameras in the selected view and provide a very easy way of navigating across the recordings. Please notice that all cameras in the specific view move in sync as you slide the timeline. The Time Navigator in the control panel gives you advanced playback controls that help you research an incident and find relevant sequences fast. The synchronized playback of all cameras in the view make it very easy to track actions across different cameras in time. Just like in the live mode, you can force one or more cameras into independent playback if you want a detailed look at an individual camera sequence. Another feature of the Smart Client that I want to show you is the Sequence Explorer, which is a great tool for getting an overview of your recordings and finding specific sequences. It can be launched in both the live mode and playback mode, where you can choose to view sequences from a single camera or all cameras in a view. Let's launch the Sequence Explorer for the current view. The Sequence Explorer appears as a new window on top of the actual Smart Client application. The Sequence Explorer has three main areas: the thumbnail view that shows all the available video sequences, the player that lets you play back any of the sequences, and the selection area that lets you control which cameras you want to include in the Explorer view. The video sequences in the thumbnail view are listed in a chronological order, and you can easily resize the tiles to fit your particular needs and preferences. When viewing sequences from several cameras, they are shown as thumbnails with legends that tell you which camera each sequence relates to. This means that when you're investigating an incident, you can easily navigate between the preview sequences either by using the slider or by simply dragging and throwing the thumbnails. This gives you a great overview of your recordings and makes the Sequence Explorer a huge help when tracking down specific sequences. At the bottom, you can choose which cameras you want to include in the thumbnail view. You can also choose if you want to view sequences or time intervals. When you find a sequence that you want to investigate closer, simply click that thumbnail and the sequence will be shown in the player on the left. When playing back the sequence, you have all the normal playback controls. Once you have identified the relevant time in that sequence, you can return to the playback mode of your full view with a simple click. This will give you all cameras in the relevant view synchronized to the time of the identified sequence that you selected in the Sequence Explorer. When you've completed your investigative work, you can easily produce forensic material from relevant camera sequences. To do this, use the Export Control pane. Once you've defined the start and end times for the time interval that you want to export, you can choose between exporting individual cameras or all cameras in the present view. In XProtect Go, you can only export video material in AVI format, whereas the premium versions of our software also let you export in JPEG or the XProtect database format. The XProtect database format has the advantage that the original video recordings are exported without any modifications or compressions, and the time synchronization between the exported cameras is kept. It also lets you choose to encrypt material, eliminating the risk of evidence being modified or manipulated. Let's now move on to the Setup tab. The Setup tab is used to configure views and view elements in the Smart Client. The View pane contains the defined views, and you can add new ones with just a few clicks. Let me show you how easy this is. When creating a new view, you first need to decide which layout you want to use. The Smart Client provides a number of predefined views that are grouped in either 4:3 or 16:9 viewing ratios, to be optimized for the screen that you are using. You can also assign a suitable name to the view. XProtect Go has a limit of 8 cameras, but when using some of the premium XProtect products, you can build views with up to 100 cameras in a single view. Once you select the layout you like, start populating the view with cameras and other content. The elements that you can display in the view are listed in the System Overview pane. Let's drag a couple of cameras into our new view. You do this by simply dragging a camera into the view and dropping it where you want it displayed. To help you verify you picked the right camera, you get a preview from the camera, and via the Property pane you can define detailed display and behavior properties. You can include carousels and hotspots to display video from several cameras in a single view position. You can also include HTML pages, images, and maps in a view. You can also adapt the behavior of the Smart Client to match the way you work, which really helps improve usability. This is done in the Options dialog. The first group of settings control the overall look and feel of the Smart Client and include controls for camera title bars and grid sizes and so on. Another group of settings control which functions should be available in the control pane in the different modes. The next set of controls manages the availability of specific functions like independent playback, use of overlay buttons and so on. In addition to these settings, you can also define joysticks and keyboard shortcuts for frequently used commands. The Smart Client supports 20 languages, provided you have the language modules installed on your PC. You can download the other language versions of the Smart Client from the XProtect Go support community on our website. So those are the basic and most commonly used functions offered by the Smart Client. When used with the premium version of XProtect, The Smart Client offers additional features like map functionality and integrated control of video walls. Okay, that's all I've got for you now. I hope you found this video useful. I can also recommend checking out the other videos about XProtect Go on the Milestone website. Thank you for watching.